First and foremost, we're going to bring in our special guest. If you don't know him by now, his name is Chris Smalls. He is the co-founder of the Amazon Labor Union, and he was just recently on the Hondola to give aid to Gaza. He is back. We are glad that he is back and safe. Let's go ahead and bring him in. What is going on, Chris?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. We were very worried about you. Very worried. And I guess I want to start with this. Many people saw that you co-founded the Amazon Labor Union and the fight that you had against Amazon and applauded your efforts there. And a lot of people saw, well, he accomplished this great feat. He went after Amazon. He went after the giant. And many people probably look back and they say, well, he could have just relaxed there. Like he could have just written all these books or taken whatever deals came his way. But you didn't do that. After October 7th, you expanded basically your activism for the pro-Palestine movement. And then you proceeded to volunteer on the Hondola. Can you explain to everybody, why did you decide to get involved there? Why did you decide to volunteer for the Hondola and not just basically, some people are asking, like, just kick back after the labor win?
Yeah, I'm just connecting the dots. Amazon has US Amazon Web Services is Israel's Iron Dome, essentially, and their military and industrial intelligence. It's participating in the surveillance and targeting of innocent Palestinians with that technology, and they invested $7.2 billion, which is called the Project Nimbus, along with other corporations. So they're absolutely connected to this struggle, and for me as a labor leader, as you mentioned. My goal is to apply pressure to other labor unions who haven't passed zero resolutions since October 7th and still continue to ship arms and manufacture weapons for Israel.
That's right. That's a really good point there, Chris. And then also your experience on the Hondola. We heard about what happened to you when the IDF boarded the ship. What exactly, if you could go through the
I keep doing
details
this now.
of that, what exactly happened when they boarded the ship?
So yeah, just like the Madeleine, they come in the middle of the night. They what people saw up until the point where they pulled the cameras down, they cut communications off from the rest of the world. They don't want everybody to see this. And basically, they detained us until we arrived at the port of immigration, a port of Assad in the morning. For about 12 hours, we had to stay on deck with our hands up or pretty much sleep uncomfortable until we arrived at the port to be transferred over to the port authorities.
What did they say to you when they boarded the ship?
They announced that they were getting on board, not to move or keep your hands up. They even announced and acknowledged that we were on a hunger strike. Surprisingly, um, they they couldn't do their propaganda. They actually came on with a camera crew. They wanted to take pictures like they did with Greta with sandwiches and water, but they knew that we were on a hunger strike, so they announced that, and that I guess that killed that propaganda. But they still were eager, trying to give us food throughout the night, trying to offer us water, but we didn't accept it. And once we were transferred over to the authorities at immigration, the same thing. They met us at the docks with a camera crew right there.
Very interesting. And then they treated you differently than the other volunteers that were on that boat. So was everyone detained by the IDF, or were you the only one that was detained?
No, we all was detained until we were transferred over to immigration. And from there, we get in process to be either deported or if you elect to go see the judge, that's going to send you to prison. So I believe 14 of us decided that we were going to see the judge, and the other seven were deported immediately.
Okay. And then they decided to beat you. Now, did this, I guess what we're trying to figure out, did that happen in
When did
front
that
of the
happen?
other? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it didn't happen in front of the others. The way it happened was They when we got to the dock, the IOF, they transfer us over one by one to the immigration. They call us off by countries. They left the Americans for last. There was seven of us, but I was one of the last to get off. I might have been like second or third from last. And as I was walking towards the building, they had all these cameras in our faces. So I cursed them out pretty much, saying that I don't consent to any of these cameras and pictures. I covered my face, and then next thing I know, they sent seven authorities and they threw me to the ground. And that's when they put their knee in my back, they twisted my arms behind my back, and three men on each side levitated me while one was pulling my hair and my chains, choking me to the point where I couldn't breathe. And at the same time, he was choking me. He was telling me to shut up repeatedly. Then they brought me into a separate room away from the rest of the crew members. I was isolated and I was guarded by five guards the entire time throughout the entire process. So they didn't want me to interact or speak or anything the entire time until I was transferred over to prison.
Chris, Max Blumenthal was here recently, and he's been to Gaza multiple times. Max Blumenthal said that the Israelis are incredibly racist, even to the Ethiopians that live in Israel.
Yes, I can attest to that. The prison that we was in was full of Ethiopians. They didn't want us to see. They had us isolated from them. They put a curtain up or a wall, a barrier up every day. We were at the last two cells. But we saw as we walked through, I know I paid attention to who was in there, and it was full of Ethiopians and full of Filipinos as well.
There were Filipinos there?
Yeah, yeah, that actually was.
That is very, very, very interesting. We were worried when we heard about what happened to you. We were just hoping that you could get back home safely. And you were greeted by a great crowd of people waiting for you at the airport. Were you expecting that? Were you surprised when you got off the plane and you saw all the people there for you?
It's everything I could have envisioned while I was in prison. That was all I was thinking about was getting back home to my family, my mom, definitely my kids. And I was really happy to see my union there. My entire union at that was there. So it was really, really humbling to see that. And the community, New York City, some of the folks I met along my journey protesting, some of the students that's organizing some of these different organizations that I always been showing solidarity for. They actually showed up for me. And then to see people come in from all over the country, from LA, from DC, from Boston, that was just really really a blessing to see that, and I'm really happy and grateful.
So, Chris, like some of the treatment that you described from the IDF, I would say is similar to the treatment that the NYPD has given towards people in New York. And there is a relationship there for those who are not aware, where a lot of these police officers have been trained by the IDF. So, the same type of terror that you see abroad, you see that here in the United States as well. What has the reception been like from local politicians? Have you heard anything from, for example, Zoran Mandami, AOC, any of the New York politicians? Have they reached out to you?
No, no, absolutely not. They choose to ignore it, but it's okay. I mean, I think people have noticed that. And it's a shame, but I always say this, that politicians will never be our saviors. So it didn't matter whether they reached out or not. I already know how far their help is going to go or support. And I always know that the community is what matters most. We have to save ourselves. So, the work that we're doing is directly affecting people every day. It's not going to be our politician.
I agree with you there. Were you surprised that AOC and Bernie Sanders in particular, who came out after you won the unionization for Amazon, have said nothing?
No, I mean, I guess I rubbed them the wrong way. So, it is what it is with me. I'm not the average union president that just endorsed Democrats. I've been very vocal about my opposition on their politics, especially being pro-Palestine from the very beginning. We don't align, so it is what it is. They choose to ignore it, and that's fine. But it just shows people who they really are, you know. And I hope people see that. And there's no sugarcoating it. Like I said, everybody, unless you was under a rock, everybody knew or got a wind of what's going on, especially with my captivity. So there's no way they have no excuse for it. But I'll let the people decide what to do with that.
Yeah, we definitely all saw. We are all aware. What would you say to if you could speak to other union leaders like Sean Fain, for example? What would you say to him about the pro-Palestine movement?
Well, I know he's been disrupted before by his own rank and file about that. So I wouldn't really have to say much. Really, I would say more of I don't agree with the fact that he agrees with Trump's tariffs that caused 30,000 union members in Canada to lose their jobs. So that's what I would say. And then I will also, um, I encourage his rank and file members and any rank and file member of all of these unions that have been complicit to do something about it. Everybody has an opportunity right now to play a role in this fight, and now they are very aware of what's going on. And we got to hold the unions accountable who have been very complicit or participating. It's just that simple.
I totally hear you. And I do want to make this announcement for those who have not seen. This is from Sarah Wilkerson. She said 44 countries will launch the largest civilian flotilla of ships in an effort to challenge the illegal Israeli blockade, and then another, and then another. Chris, I'm sure you've heard about this. How do you feel about it? That more countries, more people want to stand up and will step up and volunteer.
That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. I'm happy to be a part of the coalition. And in the future, I'll be able to join another mission. I know this one, I'm not one and done. And I'm wishing them the best of luck, and I hope that they break their legal shoes that Israel has imposed. Because enough is enough. We have to do it now.
Right. We do have to do it now. Another question that I had for you. I saw in an interview before you went on the Hondola, you said that you didn't want your kids to grow up in a world or the world like it is today. I'm sure your kids are very proud of you.
Yeah, they are. They're at that age where they are definitely paying attention to everything around them and worldly events. And they were the first phone call I made when I got back home. I didn't get to see them yet because I did contract scabies, and I want to be on the safe side, so I had to get that taken care of. But I'm looking forward to hugging them again. That's everything that I look forward to when I was in prison.
What would you say, like some of the things that you saw, the solidarity there on the Hondola? You have people from all different countries. I believe 7 Americans there. What would you say about that solidarity?
Oh man, when you live with these people on the water on an open graveyard, where one of us, one mistake could kill everybody, it's a special type of bond, and definitely family oriented. We had the grandmother of the ship, Vigils, who was 70, who I attached myself to, and even protected while we was in captivity. Um, it was things like that, moments like that, where that got us through together. We had to build a special bond in a family because we were going into a life or death situation where we know in the past they've killed, 10 activists. So to go into that, we all had to be on a certain level, and we were.
And the fact that the IDF soldiers came when they got on the boat, they tried to give all of you food just goes to show you how easily they could give food to people in Gaza, but they're choosing not to. Netanyahu has made a recent announcement that he is going to, or Israel is going to occupy all of Gaza, which I believe was the plan from the get-go prior to October 7th. They wanted this to happen. What do you say to people back home, Chris? What do you say to people in New York that may not be as focused on this issue or may say, well, it's foreign policy, it's over there, it's not happening here?
Well, I would say that's smoke and mirrors because everything that's happened in foreign policy obviously is affecting us here at home, especially if our taxpaying dollars, billions of dollars is going towards this genocide when we're over here struggling, living check to check. Meanwhile, the folks over there, Israel, They get universal health care. They get to go to college for free. And that's off of our expenses. There's no way that people shouldn't be outraged. And on top of that, we have to escape the two-party system. I mean, these last elections have proven once again how there's a disconnect between the working class and our government. And it's not going to be our government that's going to correct it. It's going to be the people. So I'm hoping that with this mission, with the Handela and future missions, that we continue to spread awareness, to, especially to American citizens who money is going towards this genocide.
That's right. I know we've been criticizing the two-party system for quite some time. And speaking of that, I'm curious. You mentioned one time before when you were on RBN about the Labor Party. Do you think we need a Labor Party in the U.S.?
Absolutely. I mean, I see what my brother Jeremy Corbyn is doing. He already endorsed me with my Labor Party. I endorse him with his Your Party. And I was absolutely happy and floored when I came home and I saw that the numbers on my Labor Party page has quadrupled. So I know that people are looking for a home, and that's something that I'm going to be working hard for to build over the next 2 or 3 years, so we can get it on the ticket for 28.
That sounds awesome, Chris. I know people are looking forward to other options. And then another thing that crossed my mind, you really did risk a lot. After you won the unionization with Amazon. I remember they brought you on to all these different shows, like even like late night talk shows, etc. Like everybody wanted to know, like, how did you do it? When you started to, announce your support for Gaza, what happened after that?
Oh, it's a wave of cancel culture, so to speak. I pretty much I didn't get booked for the entire year with speaking engagements. I lost, opportunities that I probably wouldn't even imagine. And I lost tens of thousands of followers overnight, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, a combination of the both. Yeah, that was right in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I think some people may not realize, like you stood to lose a lot, right? But you did it anyway. And I think a lot of people wouldn't have taken that chance. They would just been like, "Oh, I'm just going to be silent on this issue," as some people have, like DJ Khaled, for example,
I was
very
about to
silent.
say, big old DJ Khaled. I could have pulled the DJ Khaled for sure, but no.
Very, yeah, very, very silent about this issue, but you're fighting the good fight. And I got to tell you, there are a number of people that watch the show. Everybody was so proud of you. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Chris Smalls is out there. This is great. This is like amazing." And I want people to look up to people like you. I want people to look up to people, everybody that was on like the Honda boat. I want people to look up to people like you guys, not like politicians. That's my
Yeah,
goal.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's another conversation. It's just like, um, even though it's focused on me, I always want to point it back to the Palestinian people. What I experienced was just a fraction of it. I can't imagine what they're going through, and that's what the real story should be: is that these people are out there suffering every day, and the world is watching. We have to figure out something immediately.
Well, Chris, in New York, where you are, it appears that things are shifting. More people, and the polls are showing more Jewish voters, in particular younger ones, are not supporting Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams
Mhm.
or Silwa. The majority are supporting Mandami. There is a shift that seems to be happening. There was a report that was announced recently that moderate Democrats like Richie Torres are concerned about where they should stand at this moment because there is a shift away from the whole pro-Israel politics. To me, that says that the activism has been working. I know some people are disappointed. A lot of us been out there protesting, and people are just kind of like, they're still killing people in Gaza. And I think that when times look grim like that, it's important to point out the positives, which is that a lot of people have woken up, and that includes some Trump supporters, by the way, who are not happy with what is happening in Gaza. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that people like Richie Torres are wondering if they have to change their message a little bit?
Yeah, that's definitely um, a step in the right direction. Everybody has a role to play, and whether you're going to do direct action, whether you take to the streets and protest, whether you're students that's building encampments, it's all helping the cause and uplifting the Palestinian people. And that's what we have to do. We have to do this as a collective, and it's going to be all different people, all different backgrounds, all different organizations that contribute to this movement. And like I would tell my comrades, even the flotilla mission, it's not going to be for everybody. I can tell you now from my own experience that 95% of the people probably wouldn't make it past training because you're once again have to prepare yourself mentally that you could die and not come back home and there be no accountability for the IOF. And you're going to prison and some of the most inhumane conditions. So it's not something that's like a joyride or something that's like a average protest. This is life or death, and this is something that once again, if I'm a leader, my job is to activate activists to get active, and vice versa. If you're an activist, the time is now that we all have to get active. So that's all we have to do is continue to contribute in whatever way you feel that you can.
And speaking of getting active, this is something everyone needs to know about. Chris may be aware of this as well, but there is a campaign for Free Mohammed Ibrahim. He's a 15-year-old American that has been kidnapped by the IOF. They are demanding that the U.S. intervene for his release from Israel's illegal detention. Something else about him, for those who are not aware, when he was taken, he weighed 108 pounds. Since that time, he has lost 22 pounds, bringing him down to 86 pounds. The family's ordeal has only gotten worse since Muhammad has been abducted. Israeli settlers beat Muhammad's cousin, who was a 20-year-old American citizen, Safallah Kamal Masalat. They beat him to death on July 11th, 2025, so not too long ago. After his murder, U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee told the family that Muhammad should never have been arrested and promised to secure his release. But the ambassador has done nothing, as Muhammad has not been released and weeks have passed with no progress. He is one of 6 U.S. citizens killed by Israeli forces or settlers since October 2023. Eric, if you can share this link with people in the chat. This is another one, right? Like there are Americans there that have been kidnapped by the IOF, and our government isn't saying anything about it. They're not acting to get them out.
Same.
Yeah, same thing. They're not acting. They're not trying to get them out. Did anybody, Chris? Do you know if anyone reached out? Did any, like when you guys were detained? Did you hear? Did anybody reach out to the Freedom Flotilla?
From the U.S. Embassy, um, unfortunately, nobody from the U.S. Embassy, no politician that I'm aware of reached out. I know I've seen there was some posts from Summer Lee. Thank you for that. Shout out to Summer Lee and Rashida Tlaib. But I haven't saw much from any other politician, and especially from the U.S. Embassy or the U.S. consulate that's in Tel Aviv. We didn't get anybody in person. Everybody else country showed up. All their embassies showed up. Their consulates showed up for them. But the U.S. did nothing, and that's another thing that needs to be called out.
Has anyone tried to threaten you or target you since you got home?
Threatening, no. I mean, we didn't break any laws. So, I don't, I don't think that would be smart. If anything, I'm trying to seek some legal action for what happened to me, whether I got to go through the ICC, and if I can, I'm going to try to do it.
That's what I was going to ask. If you guys are going to be trying to seek any type of legal action, I think that would be best if you can. But we are very, very proud of you. And it's obvious that our politicians are serving Israel and not the American people. In fact, I couldn't end on a sour note, I have to show this. I thought this would bring a humor to things. I don't know who made this, but I thought it was hilarious that
Yeah,
people just
yeah. The internet is undefeated. It's crazy.
I had to do it. I had to do it. Okay. All right. Chris, anything else that you got coming up?
Um, no, I mean, I'm going to try to rest for the remainder of the month. I got to listen to my mom and chill out. But I'll definitely be back in the streets as soon as possible. So there's a lot of things that I have working on, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much. And again, we are very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Bye. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.